Good.
Hi,
Um,
how are you?
and
Hi,
one
everyone.
thing so one way I've seen these done is sort of people go around, everyone brings up sort of whatever issue or thing they want to talk about, and
Sure,
so we know what they all are, and then we can kind of divvy up the time.
sure.
Is that okay with folks?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, so Patty's is sort of, if I could sum it up, it would be like work-life balance, life volunteer on a board balance, sort of
Right.
how to maintain boundaries with residents.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And Beth, did you have one?
Actually, yeah. We've been having big issues with residents and prime trucks, etc., speeding. And I want to sort of see. I know what we've done so far and what we supposedly can't do. I want to see what other parks do. And then if there's more time, we'll go into another one. But that's my main one today.
Okay, speeding. And Leo, how about you? What did you bring today? Anything?
I don't know how the other parks handle lot boundaries, but right now, we have a big issue going on in our park with a lot boundary. One community member, only one out of 80. We're gonna
Wow.
probably have to take them to court.
Oh,
So like lot line disputes between neighbors and things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Okay. And Mike, how about you? Anything in particular you're bringing to this discussion today? You don't have to.
Not today, no.
Okay.
I've been kind of absorbed with a lot of other things. I just did not want to miss this.
Well,
Aw.
thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So let's tackle Patty's first. So Patty's having an issue with just maintaining some boundaries with residents and how to sort of put your board hat on and then also like take it off sometimes and be a normal human being living in your home,
Mhm.
which I think is reasonable. Any thoughts about that?
Being a new president, I haven't got into that problem, but I know in our bylaws, we have it. It's 9 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning. So I haven't run into that problem. I don't know if our old president, Pat, had ever run into that problem, but I know she was getting calls all the time, but I don't know if it was after 9 o'clock and before 8 o'clock, but you would think that people would respect it if you have it like that we have in our rules, 9 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning. So
Those are sort of the quiet hours, Leo.
Yeah.
Is that what's in the rules? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we do have quiet in our rules, the quiet hours, but we don't have anything dealing with, like the residents contacting the board and things like that. But that is something to think about.
I would try to put it in your newsletter or something,
That's another good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's, we have a Facebook page and we do a newsletter. And when I first got back on the board, I got another phone with another number that I gave to the residents. And I just told them 9 in the morning to 9 at night.
Mhm.
Anything outside of those hours, unless it's an emergency, probably not going to hear from me. I
Mhm.
mean, if they call, I don't answer, but they can leave a message.
Right.
If it's an emergency, but we have a management company also.
Right.
Right.
So, the first place they're supposed to go is to management.
Right.
And they have an after hours number that they can be contacted at.
Mhm.
But there are residents that would rather talk to a board member or someone that's right here at the time.
Mhm.
So like I said, if it's an emergency, I get back to them. If it's nonsense, I
Mhm.
just wait and call them the next day.
Mhm. Yeah,
Well,
another thing with this resident that I did talk to this morning, and I had emailed her by like 10 o'clock, with the approval of her modification and what the process is and things like that. Oh, did I freeze?
Nope, you're good.
No,
Oh, okay. I can see everybody froze.
Oh, I spoke too soon.
Come back to us, Patty.
Oh, now you, right after I said, no, you're fine, you did freeze.
Oh, okay. All right.
So go back. You said you emailed her around 10 in the morning.
Yes, yes. And then she said, well, she said, I changed my email address. And I said, well, who did you notify? And I guess she did give it to our property management company, but that was it.
Hmm.
So, I don't know.
This email thing that you do you do that? Do you have the emails of your residents or what?
Yes, we
Do you
have
do you have the phone numbers of your residents?
yes.
See, we're putting in that one call now, and I would like to do it, but they're thinking about having our property management do it. And so like today, the tree guys wanted to get a hold of somebody. I don't have the number. I can't do anything. And they keep on bringing up to us, the president and the property management keep on bringing up to us that it's confidentiality, that they're the other board members besides Dennis are not supposed to have the phone numbers. I just want to know how y'all get away from that. Get away from that with that.
Well, we did ask at one of our meetings, it was probably an annual meeting or whatever, if everybody was okay with us sharing their number with everybody, just so that in the event of an emergency or something, that we could have like a phone tree, go on and call neighbors and things like that. And everybody was fine with it. So, so that we did do that.
Okay.
And Beth, I think it would be possible to send, like, if you guys do a newsletter or something, to tell people, like, on an opt-out basis, like, we're going to use your phone, but these are like the 3 things we're going to contact you about, like emergency shutoffs, if you need to move your car, like, and then say, if you do not want that, tell us by this date. And we'll take
We already did the survey on that.
Oh,
to
yeah.
See whether we're gonna do. Survey turned out, okay, we're gonna do it. Now it's coming down to the nitty gritty of doing the spreadsheet that they want. And I personally would like to handle that. And so that's done right. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. And there's sometimes I would like to be able to get a hold of residents, and we're sort of not allowed to. So I wondered if that's really a confidentiality thing or what, or
I mean, to Patty's point, and I think Cateros too, I mean, I just finished calling Cateros residents for the annual meeting on Saturday. So, like, I think it's mostly on I mean, the management company generally has your phone number and your email, so they can contact you, and I think it stands to reason the board could have access to that too. I mean, if I were you, I would just communicate as clearly as possible. Like, board members will have your phone number and your email, but they will use it, they're not going to be spamming you all the time. And, they'll use it in case of emergency and in case of like notifying you of meetings or like, just list a couple reasons why you might use it. And then people can opt out. They can always opt out.
okay.
Is our park different than a lot of these other parks?
In terms of what?
We're resident owned.
Oh no, these are all resident owned.
Well, why are they all? Why is it all supposed to be? What do I want to say?
Confidential?
Confidential.
Because the property management and the president says so.
Well, we have an emergency call list with 6, 7 different people who have we split it up, so there's like 10 people under these 6 different people. If we have, like, if the water breaks outside the park, they call the president, and the president calls these 6 different people,
Yeah, like
and
a phone tree.
they call the 10 people on their list.
We're getting a one call now system that does that. A couple
Like a
people can
robocall?
put messages on there. It's just I've had some incidences where I would have liked to contact the resident and I'm not allowed. And I'm a vice president. And I would like to be able to put this sheet together myself, but I'm wanting to know if other parks have access to their like emails. Patty was saying email. I would love to be able to email our people.
Yeah, Patty is really, quick shout out to Patty for record keeping on these things is amazing. So Patty has some of the best records I've seen
Well,
for
Molly,
resident contact information.
you feel free to share like our membership tracking if you'd
Okay.
like. I mean, you
Yeah.
know what information you may want to block
Sure.
out, you know,
I
or
could
whatever.
share,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
but feel free to, you know,
Thank you.
yeah.
That sounds interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always a work in progress.
Mhm.
And I know at one point we needed to know the year of each unit for well, it was even before we needed it for lead paint
Yeah.
reasons, you know.
Yeah.
And so we figured, you know, we're going through the files and going to put that together. So let's put another column on the membership tracking. And then Molly needed it for the lead paint, and it was already there,
Yeah.
you know. So, you know, anything we find out that people are going to need going forward, we try to put it on that. So it'll just always be a work in progress.
Yeah. And you can also reassure people that it is still confidential. Like it's not
Yeah.
like you're broadcasting it to the world, right?
Right.
Like the board has access.
Yeah.
But it
But
took me a year just to get the membership list.
Right.
Wow.
Well, I can see I'm gonna be running into something already. The park voted to go 55 plus, and one of the things a 55 plus says, you got to have a copy of everybody's driver's license.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Leo, you and the Woodlands board should talk to the Patty and the Brittany
Yes.
Paris board because they're in the process of filing for that HOPA.
Yeah. And we were very successful, Leo.
Oh yeah.
Yes. We picked like 4 days, and we just said, you know, like units 50 through say 65 show up on such and such a date, you know, between these hours. And you know, so we did it in 4 days. If somebody couldn't make it, no problem, come the next day. And I asked for volunteers, and we had 2 copiers going, and we asked people if they have a copier themselves at home, bring the copies already, so we didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if I can give you any pointers, I'd be happy to.
Because
Are
the
you-
first thing you guys have to do, Leo, is like establish what percentages you're at now.
Well,
see.
this is the thing that I'm not sure of. Say
Yeah.
the percentage deal. I'm not sure about this percentage deal because I don't think we're at 80%.
Yeah. You know, I got some good guidance on this when Pat first brought it up, but I don't know if it made its way to you. I'm going to write down to send that to you
All right.
about like how you basically have to wait for it to naturally get to 80-20. Otherwise, it's discrimination.
Yeah.
It's age discrimination
Right. Because
before you have the official designation. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's a whole, I don't,
Yeah,
I'm
be
not- I don't-
careful. It's
because I
wet.
don't think we're at 80%.
yeah.
Huh?
So,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Does she know that?
I will send that to you.
Onward.
But yeah, I
Alright,
guess
I'll
we
see you
didn't really cover Patty's. We didn't really give Patty too good of an answer.
Right,
But
we
I
gotta
think
kinda
that's like
get
a perpetual struggle of how do you like live your life as a resident and be a board member, and how do you like separate those two things so that you can have some sanity.
I think you just like I said, I just think you have to let them know.
Newsletter, I like that idea.
In
I
your
do
news-
too, yeah.
In your newsletter, just say, hey.
Yep.
you know, come on, people.
And you do pay management to deal with things that are emergent or to report on board decision, like
Yeah.
you don't want to be constantly being like, no, talk to management. But I know you all aren't like that, and
Mhm.
it should be you pay them to take care of things for you, so they should do that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Beth, speeding. How do you deal with speeding in your communities?
Well, right now we have the limit posted as 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the bylaw, not that it's in the park rules. We did put in speed bumps that was put in after we bought the park. They're not the really big steep ones, but just like rounded humps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our people, of course, in the not the bylaws, but in the rules, park rules, it says that we'll fine you if you don't. But we found out later
Yeah.
that that's outdated. You cannot do that.
Yep.
So we're trying to think of some way how to get these people to slow down. Do we put in more speed bumps? No matter what we say in newsletters, it doesn't sink in. And lately, we've had prime people just racing around here where we've told them
Oh, like the
repeatedly not
delivery.
to. So not only our members, but outside members.
Yeah.
What do you all do with your speed issues?
We got the same problem.
Okay.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the residents brought that up at one of our community meetings, and I told her to for her to work on a solution. She thought bigger signs. Our speed limit is 15. So she did go out and get prices on them and things like that. Now, some people had mentioned speed bumps, but other residents mentioned that speed bumps are not the greatest because, when we have snow plows in the community, they're going to be hitting them, so I don't know how
Wow.
you deal with that. So, we opted not to do that. And we do have them posted all over, so I don't know. I suggested I jump out in front of the UPS and stop them, but,
He may not stop.
I know, yeah.
Some of our the snow people we had a couple years ago really tore them up. The guy we got now is good. I think maybe talking to your snowplow people. And
Yeah,
all of
they
ours
can.
are staked, so they
Mhm.
know they're there, so they ease up. And I think we also have, if you violate these things, after so many times, you're supposed to get your membership taken away or something. So and there's no bite in our rules because we never do anything but write them up, write them up, write them up, write them up.
Right.
Beth, do you guys have like a rules enforcement policy?
What do you mean by that?
Like, so you have your rules and that's great. But the rules don't say how you will enforce the rules, right? They're just the rules.
There is something about violations of the rules.
Okay.
Okay, so after so many violations, you can be like, our membership pays lower rent.
Mm-hmm.
So after so many violations, you can be a non-member, which means you
Right.
cannot vote, you pay
Right.
higher rent, etc., which leads to down the road, maybe if you keep on doing violation, is there maybe the eviction type thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically it's just a policy that would outline basically what you just said, which is like first time you get written up, second time you get, I don't know,
Yep.
the next thing that would happen. Your membership is taken away the third time, something like. But speeding is hard because it's hard to know who's doing it. Or in your case of like the prime delivery people, there's no membership you can take away from them.
Right.
You wouldn't even be able to find them if you could find them. So,
Hmm.
aren't there some
And
speed bumps that like are removable? Am
Yes.
I crazy?
No,
Okay,
they
that
make,
exists.
they're composite. They're a rubber composite. We have some, we don't use them.
Mm.
We do have some. We had speed bumps, but when they redid the roads, there was a lot of people that did not want the speed bumps. Claimed it was ruining the front ends in their car.
If you're
Because
speeding,
they're hitting
it
them
will.
too hard.
Yeah, really.
But they won out, and we wound up without the speed bumps. And then one of the residents, was able to obtain from somewhere else that was getting rid of them, the rubber ones that you can put in, take out whenever you want,
Right.
or place them wherever you want. If you have a street that's a chronic problem, put them there for a while. You want them on your main roads coming in, you put them there. But they do make movable ones.
And how do you find they work?
I actually was familiar with them because when I worked for the state on the office campus in Albany, we used them, and they work good. They're easy to put in and out,
Mhm.
and you know, they don't really cause any damage to your blacktop. You know, if God forbid the plow guy catches it, and it'll just pull up and it'll just kind of go.
Mhm.
So they're pretty indestructible.
Did you notice a difference in your park after using them?
No, because they only got used like once or twice, and then they just kind of got stuff behind the maintenance building.
Okay.
But I firmly believe we should be using them. We have a lot of children in our park,
Yes, yes.
a
Yeah.
lot of children. So
Speeding is a hard. Oh, well, yeah, you heard it. Everybody deals with that, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
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 you're
Yeah.
always gonna have people that are gonna speed, no matter what you do.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, there are people that just absolutely refuse to be cautious driving in their own park.
Mhm.
Yep.
I agree. If I may, I have a question. Beth had mentioned that your membership pays a lower lot rent. Okay, I was
I think
in,
it's $25 if you're a non-member. When they first, I'll explain real quick. When we first became a park, 9 years ago, they had the option of being a member or not. They
Right.
had, I don't know, 4 or 5 that still stayed that way. Okay. And everybody else after that has to become a member.
right,
Okay. And
Right.
now it's just been repeat violations that you're doing that takes that membership away. So that adds to the non-members.
oh, wow,
Yeah, we have a different price for non-members, and ours is actually $75 more.
Wow.
They don't collect it from anybody, but we're getting ready to start making that move and start collecting the extra from the people that don't want to join. And
We
any
do-
new people that move in, it's not an option.
Right.
right, that's the way it is for us, but I was,
In order to move in, you need to join
Right.
and be a member.
Exactly.
Same here. Same here.
yeah, we were just under the understanding that you could not charge a non-member less.
No, a non-member more.
Or
I mean, yes, that's what I meant. Yes, yeah.
I don't know. We are. Is it, are we doing it wrong? I don't know.
I've never heard anything
No,
that
you,
contradicts that.
This
yeah,
is with the
you
property
can-
management.
yeah, normally I think Beth or Mike or Leo, do you remember when you first became a co-op, if it started with the differentiation or that was budgeted in later?
If
Nope,
it
it
did
was
what?
right from the first day.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
Patty,
And originally we were billing people that weren't members the extra 75.
right, the idea is
But
like
we
if
went
you're
through
a
so many
member,
different managers, as you know.
right, it
And
got
then,
kind
you
of
know,
twisted.
the one really bad one we had
Yeah,
that was here for so long. She was
Yeah.
just telling people, don't worry about it. You're a member.
yeah. Yeah.
So
But the only thing, Patty, I'm having like a memory that might be made up, but I can look into this, that it had something to do with the home grant for you guys and like having to be
okay.
like
may
equitable
have
across the board.
That may have been, yeah.
Well, would that
But-
make a difference in ours too, Molly?
No, so this was a specific type of grant that Brittany Terrace used for acquisition. It's
Okay.
never been used that way before. So,
Okay.
Okay,
like
that
if
makes sense.
you, Beth, you mean like if you were to get a grant now
No.
for something?
Well, I didn't know it was tied into a grant, so I'm just asking why
Oh.
she couldn't when we do.
You know, Patty, I'm not sure if you can't can never do that, but you have like one non-member, right?
We're down to just one non-member, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
But I feel like I remember that it wasn't possible to do at closing
Okay,
for some reason.
okay.
Mhm,
That
okay.
makes sense, though, that it might have been the grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Ours is different.
Mm-hmm. The idea is like you do some work when you're a member, right? So you get a lower. I mean, that's not the whole idea, but to incentivize membership too. So,
Mhm.
It gives you the right to vote.
yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Molly, any ideas on the speeding that you have? Just
Um,
curious.
I would say those removable speed bumps. I like that idea because I think it's a lot cheaper. I'm assuming. I've never priced them out, but I'm assuming they're cheaper than. And also, if you're worried about it in the
Yeah,
winter,
I believe it's based on the prices we paid for different blacktop things. I'm thinking that the temporary ones are cheaper.
right? Exactly. And you could also take them out during winter if you were worried about the plowing. I would think, but and you guys have signs up, right, Beth?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like driving down any road, unfortunately. Like sometimes people are gonna speed.
Well, and they are really easy to put in and take out.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
They're not, it's not a big drawn
We
out long
Hassle.
thing.
we talked about it, but of course, as probably everybody, COVID sort of let it put a hamper on any kind of spending much
Yeah.
because we didn't know where rents were going to be, So we really squashed any spending. But okay,
Yeah.
thank you, everybody.
And
Welcome.
Leo, lot lines. How do you all determine your lot lines? How do you handle lot line disputes if you've ever had them?
We really never really had that many disputes. The only problem we ever had was people taking over empty lots.
Mm,
Yeah, and some of them were not a viable lot anymore for different reasons, septic problems, whatever. But we don't have that many disputes. But we kind of went with the building department suggested, which was the front side of your trailer. You get all the way over to your neighbor. They have 4 feet, so they have access for an egress to get out that side. But whatever you have on the front, besides that 4 feet you have on the back of your house, you have 4 feet. So I mean, those are the boundaries we have. And not everybody has the same size front yard. Some people kind of get screwed because they're maybe out on the road
Right.
and they don't have much of a front yard, and then they only wind up with 4 feet in the back. But
In the back of ours, we sort of go down where the electric meters are, like right down through there, which is equal from each side. We do have that one, the front side, like Mike is speaking, and it's a couple feet from the other because they can do their back door.
right.
And then of course the front is all the way out to the road.
Right.
Right. And let's see, we did have an issue with somebody with trees, didn't want them on their yard. And we had to explain to them that it's not their yard. You own a part of the corporation which owns the whole place. You are renting the lot. We need for the betterment of the community to come on there to do it,
Right.
There, it's really vague what the footage is on either side, but we really don't have an issue as of yet. Except for we always let people know that they should not be cutting through lawns or something unless that person in that home says it's okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could check with the different building departments around you. They may have, somewhat of a guidance on how to lay it out. I mean, originally that's how this part came up with the 4 feet, and they actually even would like to see you give them 5 feet.
Right.
But they kind of settled that 4 feet, which is enough for a small porch and a set of stairs,
Right.
so you can get out.
Well, this is the way ours is. On your entrance side, it's like you say, we should call it 2 mowing strips. So it's 2 mowing strips from the opposite trailer. So your lot goes over, like, would you say 4 feet roughly?
Yeah.
And then your neighbor's trailer on the other side comes over within 4 feet of your trailer on your back side.
On your backside, right?
On the back, on the opposite side. But on the back side, like she said, it's supposed to be split equally
Mhm.
on the back side between each trailer. It's verbally always been that way.
Yeah. See, our trailers are placed all different. Some the fronts face each other, some the backs face each other, some are end to end.
Yeah, these are all, that
Yeah,
one,
I
they're all
mean,
screwy.
They sit on their lots all different ways.
Yeah.
There are some people that have
Yeah,
huge yards, front, back, sides, everything.
I do here on my entrance side is huge, and on the back side, there's a big space between the trailer over here on this side, but this side here, there's only like 6 feet, you know. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was our vice president. Had the grandfather clause about anything that was existing prior to when we bought the park is grandfathered in. Well, she put her shed in her backyard, which is within 4 feet of the neighbor's mobile home. After a year, almost a year and a half after we bought the park, which the shed means it's not grandfathered in.
Right.
So I personally tried to get the board to make her move it, but they wouldn't do it.
There again, is it a metal shed or is it a?
It's wood.
See, now we have a building code. Sheds have to be 10 feet from the nearest structure
That's
on all sides. If you don't have the 10 feet,
Yeah.
It has to be some sort of fireproof material.
right.
So
That's our North Hornell building code too, 10 feet.
So by the board refusing, they're setting a precedent.
Well, now the board has changed. Now the old board says it was illegal. The old board says it's illegal now
Mhm.
because the people that the shed is on their property, because it's over the 50-50
Mhm.
now we've had to get a lawyer to take her to court.
Mm.
But that's a good point about the building codes. Like, I wonder if you could call
Well,
code enforcement.
I've called the code enforcement officer twice. Our lawyers called him last week.
Oh, okay.
So I got a meeting with, I'm gonna have to go up tomorrow and have a meeting with our code enforcement officer. We gotta coordinate our rules with his rules, with the lawyer, and he's gonna take her to court. She's gonna lose, but she's just being stubborn.
That's
And
too bad.
does your town require a building permit for sheds?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
even our rules say that she's supposed to get a permit. She's supposed to deliver a drawing, get permission from the board,
Right.
do all this other stuff, which she never did. Even in 2017, when she put it in, she never got any of that done.
Well,
But-
basically, if they don't do anything, you're legally able to make them do it.
But she was the vice president.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Hmm.
But you know what's interesting is when this first came up, I went looking in everybody's rules to see, because I was asked, like, what do other co-ops do for lot lines? I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. Nobody has anything in their
anything
rules
in writing.
about lot lines.
Well,
And
we do, we
oh,
do,
you have the one that you established more recently, right?
no, we do, it's been, at first, when we bought the park, they had it 50-50 on
Mm.
both sides. And we got it changed because originally the park was set up, when I moved in, it was 2 foot to 2 foot on both sides. So in 2017, I went and I got the people to vote it back to 2 foot to 2 foot on both sides. But it was never, there was never anything on the back sides in
Okay.
writing.
Yeah.
But it was
And I
always,
think,
but it was always verbally. But
yeah.
now I have given the board my rule that I want to change where it is worded that it will be split evenly in the back, and it will be up to the board and a community vote when something comes up where we have a dispute with a boundary line.
And I just thought it was really interesting that hardly anybody has those lot lines defined, I think.
I think everybody ought to think about it.
It's interesting because the problem with having a rule is that means you have to enforce it, right? So I think a lot of the time, not having the rule and having neighbors work it out does work. You know, most of the time that will work, and then the board can like stay out of it.
Well, this didn't work because when they did try to work it out, they met with the board, and I was there at the board. I was on the board then, and they said, we will let you two work it out. So the way it was worked out was the vice president walked over to the neighbors and said, this is my shed, this is my land, and it's staying there. And that was a working out.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. And the thing is that I shouldn't be telling all this probably, but the whole thing started because she pulled up the neighbor's pepper plants.
Things get really heated, you know?
That's how this whole thing started.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bad neighbor. He poured bleach all over my wife's garden.
Oh my God.
Wow.
He doesn't live here anymore.
Oh boy.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I think it's, I think everybody should look into it, unless you just want to let the courts handle it. But
And the zoning sometimes makes the rules themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Like Mike was saying at Cateros, it's basically, they basically have zoned your lots.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that's written in stone with them. That's just how they're where we are. There are, oh God, an unbelievable number of mobile home parks.
well, maybe it's just my code enforcement officer here, but when I talked to him 3 weeks ago or a month ago or so, his comment to me was, well, you guys are privately owned down there. And he says, you guys have your own rules. So he says, I try not to interfere with you people down there, even though you still fall under the North Cornell codes. He says,
Right.
but I try not to interfere because you guys have your own rules. So, that was his answer to me.
Interesting.
Our town has a whole section in there within their laws for manufactured housing
Yeah.
because we have a couple within our district.
Yeah.
Well, the only rules that my code enforcement officer had is on a new park. He had nothing on a park that's already set up.
Mm.
Yeah.
His was all on a new park, setting up a new park. So I don't know if your code enforcement officer has something that's on a park that's already set up, or,
Yeah,
Yeah, I could look it up online, you know, for ours, that our town does have those things listed. I mean, we have, I want to say 30 feet in between each
Yeah, you
one.
guys have big,
Yes.
oh, yeah,
we have
big
big-
lots,
lot.
wow.
Yes, yes. And I mean, thank God we haven't had any issues since I've been here a little over 6 years. So
Now,
I
how do you split the 30 feet? Right down the middle?
yeah, like just there's 30 feet on each side of my house, you know, before the other house, you know. So
On
Right,
each side?
yes, on each side.
Wow.
What determines how much of the 30 feet you get? You get half of it?
yeah, but
Well, their homes already existed, are already existing, and that's just, you know, the way that the original owners had set it up. So, you know, and you know, in their plans for any new homes or anything, they made sure that they, you know, kept that.
So do you mow half and your neighbor mows half, Patty, or?
Yeah, you can definitely
Pretty much.
see where they
Yeah.
stop mowing and we start. Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But it's
Yeah.
just sort of like a general agreement. It's about half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yep, yep.
I think
Okay.
most of the people in here help each other out. It's
Yeah.
Same here,
just
yeah.
this one case.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
That's, yeah.
and you never know if when somebody sells something, you know, you never know what's going to happen to the
No,
next
you don't.
person that moves in someplace.
Yeah. But we've been fortunate, most people, I mean, you're never gonna get 100%, but
Right.
most people here take great pride in their places
Yeah.
and take good care. So, and take good care of each other.
Yes.
Well, I wish we had that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we tend to be very close knit, you know, especially with our neighbors here. I can speak for, you know, my neighbors. If anybody has anything in particular, an illness or something going on, and they're spending, you know, a little bit more time away from home, a neighbor will just go over and take care of it for them.
They
You
do
know.
have that, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
All right. Well, we won't go on with the rest of the story, will we, Molly?
You know, I will say, Leo, everybody has stories like that. It's not just you, I promise. Everyone's got skeletons in their closet.
Oh, the nightmares I could share.
Don't get me talking.
See? It's true. So, all right, we've got about 8 more minutes. Anything anyone else wanted to bring up or discuss or add to what's been shared?
Nobody has one. The other question I had besides the speeding was animals. You're only allowed so many, and you're not supposed to have the cats outside, which we have a very bad problem with. How do you enforce that in your parks?
Well, in Brittany Terrace, we have it in our rules that, you know, cats are allowed, but they must be house cats. You
Mhm.
can't have them outside unless they're on a leash. And as far as dogs, they can't be more than 25 pounds. So I'm
Mhm.
forever having to put mine on a diet.
Well, we have that with 35 pounds, and we have the same thing about the cats, except for a leash, but it's never enforced. And
Okay.
I am thoroughly sick of them all peeing all over my front porch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
that's not good.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're overwhelmed with feral cats.
and these actually belong to somebody across from me up the way, and she lets them out
Yeah.
and says
Mm.
she'll continue to let them out. How do
Wow.
you enforce that? Our rules, we have some great rules, but nothing is being enforced.
Wow.
We've
Yeah,
been,
we haven't had an issue with that, thank goodness.
we've been trapping them.
The feral
And-
ones, right, Leo? You took them to Lollipop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You
hard
can get
around
'em-
here to get a place that will take them. They are so full up.
Yeah. Some places will just spay them and then you have to take
Yeah.
them back.
Yeah.
I really think you guys need a rule enforcement policy, Beth.
Okay.
And I
Talk
have
to
a
me more
template.
about that later then, hon.
Yeah, I have a template I can send to you. I mean, it's obviously like, I think unfortunately the thing that works the best in enforcing rules is like, I don't want to say peer pressure, but it's late and I can't think of a better word. So like, like everyone communally agreeing, like, if these are our rules, we're going to hold each other accountable to them, right? I think that works the best. So that's hard to kind of like create that culture. But a rules enforcement policy will help because it will outline to everybody, okay, this is what happens when you
Mhm.
violate the rules. This is what the board can do. This is what management can do.
Okay.
Up to and including eviction. I think normally, I don't know that I've ever seen it go that far, but hypothetically, if you continue to violate the rules, you could be evicted.
The thing that bothers me is we had a lady in here that was feeding feral cats, and the board went after her something fierce. Sent eviction letters and letters and letters and letters. And this is like an elderly lady. And they had the whole park, going after her and stuff. And now, rest her soul, she's passed away. And we got rid of all the cats, trapped them, took care of them, finally got all rid of them off. And now, this same person that spearheaded it all is feeding the feral cats.
Oh, no.
I walked by his house the other day, and he's gone away for the weekend, and he's got them feeders, the with a tank on the top.
Yeah.
He's
A
got
self-feeder.
he's got feeders on his porch where he's feeding them.
And he's the guy that went after the other lady.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes all kinds, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, I know something, my term is ending the end of this year, and something I plan to work on next year as a volunteer is committees, because we have not had strong committees at all, and we need to do that. So maybe that would be a committee that you could set up, so it wouldn't be like one person pointing a finger, it would be a committee of numerous people and reporting to the board, who can then report to property management and let them take the proper action.
Property
You know-
management, you have to have a picture or they won't do anything. Even though it's on my house all the time, it runs back over there and I don't always get the camera out, so I can't get it. But Miss Miley, committees. Patty's talking about committees.
Yes.
We keep on talking about them. I would love to get committees going here.
Yeah, and I was
that
going to say,
yes.
there are rules enforcement committees. That's a thing.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. Committees are great because they just, if you have really well-functioning committees, it can support the board to the point where the board just like meets once a month and makes decisions based on committee recommendations.
Yep.
And then kind of gets on with things. So, yeah, if there's an issue, you can create a committee to tackle it. Or a
But
project,
committees, like
or,
every park I think has this. Committees getting them going just don't happen.
Yeah.
it's hard
Mhm.
because you
Yeah, it is
need
hard.
folks to volunteer.
Right.
And people who maybe haven't really been super involved up to this point. So convincing people that they bring something to the table that's worth, bringing is a big part, I think, of establishing committees. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. I wouldn't know the first thing about that. I can't be on that committee. But really, it's just like we're all learning this together, right? So you might as well come and bring your ideas.
But I want to sort of go to one of our next meetings and say we need some long-term goals and some short-term goals, with committees being on both of them.
Yeah,
And then just at least start working towards something,
yeah,
Instead of saying we have committees, which are never really committees, they're basically the president doing things. We need to have people out in the community being on the committees.
Mhm.
yeah. And it's good to have, the other thing about committees is it can be a mix, right? It can be like a longtime board member, a new board member, community members who've never volunteered before, all
Right.
getting the experience. So then if you've been on a committee before, then maybe running for the board doesn't seem so scary, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like,
Right.
oh, I learned how to do that. I could learn how to do this, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I started out on committees.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
We have
a lot
a-
of committees.
We have a message board over by our mailbox there, and the first thing I did is I wrote down, asked my board, things that we wanted to look at in the next couple years and we just wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, and I said things that the board would like to do. And if there's anything else that anybody in the park wants to put on this list, and we put on like 10 things or whatever, and we put it on the message board over there that the board would like to interact with the community and do in the next year. So everybody got to look at what things
Coming
they
to
could
say
work
hi.
on for the next year,
saying hi,
Look at it.
saying hi.
Oh.
He's cute.
Yeah, he's a character, this one. You gotta get down. Come on, get down. I'll play.
All
Oh,
right.
Dad.
It is 7:30, so I don't want to cut anything off, but I want to respect everybody's time. So thank you so much for attending. I think this was great.
Yes,
So I appreciate
I
you
enjoyed
bringing
it.
your.
I enjoyed it.
I love
Perspective.
hearing the other parks, what their insights are. I love hearing that.
Oh, most definitely.
Great.
We
Great.
all
So-
cheer one another on.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Exactly. So we'll try to keep these going. So we'll see. So
Just because we're small, Molly, don't give up on us.
exactly. No. This, I mean, 4 people representing 4 different communities. That's a lot of perspectives right there.
yes.
Thank you, Molly.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you. It was nice talking to
Have a great
everybody
night.
again.
Nice seeing
Bye-bye.
everybody. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh.